You're an ancient race of half-dragon, half-human. We are the last of your kind, being frozen for a millennia to find a war ravaging the countryside you used to know. To end the war and bring peace, you'll decide to fight for good.
Fucking whoops! Today, we're taking a look at another new character.
That's me, man. I've already seen this video. Why do you upload it twice?
Glad you asked. There's a second version of this video because the first one was pretty damn lackluster. I mean, if you think about it, it was pretty energy deprived. The only thing that it really served was to announce the Christmas thing, which is gonna come at the end properly this time.
Okay, enough of that. Let's begin.
The mighty half-dragons, long since thought to be extinct, they now have returned in quite a small number to try and help the world heal from the ravages of the current world war. For this is not the first time it has raged. Nay, it is the second time that humanity finds itself in total conflict, and only the half-dragons can be hoped to spare humanity the fate it wishes to bring upon itself, and it will do so through their poorly made, self-insert characters that you can find on their DeviantArt.
Just at a glance, you're able to tell that this is clearly the pinnacle of character creation. I mean, look at him. This is what an Italian mafia man would consider to be a guy with a lot of fucking balls. Speaking of which, is it just me or does Joe Pesci look like a scrotum today? Oh, poor man.
Casino was one of my favorites. I mean, the scene in the desert when I rip his asshole apart.
Oh well, at the very least it's still Joe Pesci. So with everything on the table, what's the character's history? Well, sadly there isn't much really. The guy is simply the last of his kind, and he has arrived to try and help humanity in its time of woe, says we're currently fighting World War II. I don't know how the hell he tries to solve that, but I'm sure that he will pick the right side. So why even make the video? We don't have a lot to go off of, all we have is this picture and the little blurb at the bottom, right? Well no, we actually got a tad bit more than that. This character is actually part of a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, whoever made this character thought it was a great idea to include this in a PowerPoint presentation to tell to his class. This is a great idea. Not gonna backfire. You're safe. Go and make it. Go and present it. Your classmates are gonna love you, and they're not gonna dunk your head in the toilets. So after this glorious image and the very terrible text that explains everything, I didn't do this for the video by the way, this is actually how it looks, we are getting ourselves into the first proper screen. And oh no. Oh, okay, wait. What the fuck is this? It's a questionnaire screen. You have set out to end the war for good. To start, you'll need to find the leader of the Allies. Joseph Stalin, Winston Churchill, and Chiang Kai-shek. Okay, I think I have to talk about what the presentation is about before I actually go in detail with every single screen. So what I get out of this entire presentation is that this is some form of presentation about a game idea that he had and wanted to try and deliver it to his class. And if I'm to make some deductions about what kind of game this is supposed to be, it seems like it's some form of questionnaire, where the entire idea is you're supposed to be conquering territory belonging to the Nazis by correctly answering questions. Once you've answered more questions correctly, you get to take more territory, meaning that eventually you'll wipe the Nazis out by essentially answering this questionnaire. And it's a neat idea, I suppose, actually. Not the worst idea at all. I think it could actually become a good idea. A good little app that you maybe could do as a bit of a practice about World War II, when you want to learn about the individual countries. Let's say that you want to conquer Italy, for example. You might have to answer 2 or 3 questions about, the invasion of Italy or Italy itself during World War II in order to be able to pacify it, which I think could be quite an interesting idea. There's just one problem. Where the fuck does he come into the picture? If this is supposed to be a questionnaire game about World War II, what the fuck does a half-dragon OC have to do about it? Why is he there? What is his purpose? Why is he part of a game like that? Why? It's so out of left field. It's like it's clashing really, really hard. You're supposed to be having a historical questionnaire game about World War II, and then you throw in your half-dragon OC there because of reasons. I don't see a single reason why his OC should be in this game if this is supposed to be a questionnaire game, but on the same time, that might just be a hint that it's not at all a questionnaire game, which makes the layout of the presentation even stranger. But let's give it a try. Let's try and be creative for just a moment to see what we can get out of it. So, okay, if we're throwing out the idea that this is supposed to be a questionnaire game, we can perhaps get something else. So this would in that case be the overview of the map. Conquered territory and unconquered territory, where you as a half-dragon is supposed to eventually stride into and kill all hostiles. However, every once in a while there will be a question popping up, like for example, when you have to find the leader of the Allies, but you can only choose the right answer. Like, okay, you can choose Winston Churchill, you can choose Chiang Kai-shek, but you cannot choose Joseph Stalin, because that's apparently wrong, although he was a part of the triad of leaders of the Alliance. Regardless, though, I don't think that Chiang Kai-shek would actually be a part of this list as well. I mean, he was technically a part of the Allies, but he couldn't make any meetings because they had some problems of their own. So with Joseph Stalin being the wrong answer and Chiang Kai-shek not being a part of the Allies in that kind of sense, the only answer would be Winston Churchill. So we go for Winston Churchill, and that appears to be correct. Then we're supposed to move onward, and we get some more questions later on, like this one. Look, you have these 3 choices right here. Where did the Allied reinforcements come from? You might be able to actually choose where the said reinforcements would come from. Would it be from the US? Would you rally the Asian continents to try and fight back? Or would you perhaps get them from Africa? You don't get to choose that. You only have to choose the one that's correct. And seeing as the US and Asia doesn't seem to be the right ones, well, then it has to be Africa. So then comes the question, if this was an RPG, why are you given the choices when you can't really fulfill the choices that are planted before you? Because it's not an RPG, it's a questionnaire. At least, that's my main hunch. I mean, think of it for a second. It would be the worst RPG that had ever been made. You have the illusion of choice before you, because you have to choose the right answer, or else it is entirely wrong, like that of a questionnaire. But if it's a questionnaire, what the fuck does a half-dragon have to do about it? What does your OC have any form of doing in World War fucking II? Did you fight in it? Not really. All I did was making you fall out of the sky, crashing into some war front, but that was it. But hey, you yourself might have a bit of a guess as to what this was actually supposed to be about. And if you do, well, there's a link in the description below that gives you access to the presentation fully, so you can watch for yourself and therefore make your own deduction, if you have any. So, thank you everyone so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and share the video around, as it helps me a lot. And a little bit extra of a sharing this time if you think the video was an improvement of the previous one. I deleted it because it was just so bland. It's quite boring. And it all was just to fuel the announcement. What announcement? Well, I'll tell you. On the 24th of December of this year, I am planning to perhaps have a little bit of a Christmas stream, with some interesting things happening. I will give you a full update video as to what's going to be happening once we're getting closer. That is, if it's going to happen in the first place. But we can hope at least. So, at the end here, I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my Patreons, who've been kissing my toes ever since I've opened up the channel's Patreon. It's quite endearing, actually, that there's people who still wants to provide for me, even though the times are the way they are. And I'm gonna see what I can do about that. As a little bit of a special thanks, maybe. We'll see what goes down. So, thank you everyone so much for watching, and remember, have a Merry Christmas. Oh, and a Happy Holiday.